Ravel and Debussy lived at the same time, breathed the same air, heard the same news, the same, there is, of course, there is some common roots, as well as for Mozart and Haydn. It's actually quite interesting you mentioned these two composers, Haydn and Mozart, because once again, here is a composer, Haydn, with whom personally I felt always very, very close. And Mozart, up to today, I'm not sure I will present a solo piece by Mozart. You see, actually, one of my biggest achievement was to record some Mozart concerto not later than 3 months ago with my friend Gabor Takacs and the Manchester Camerata. The recording is going to be out in September, and we record two marvelous Mozart concerto. But it took me a hell of a work. But Haydn language is kind of obvious to me, not Mozart. For one very good reason. I think Mozart stands a little bit alone compared to Beethoven and Haydn, or let's say more, Haydn and Beethoven. In the case of Haydn and Beethoven, these two composers are not afraid of exaggeration, are not afraid of contrast, are not afraid of surprising. And Beethoven took a great deal of inspiration from Haydn, from that language. And so, in other way, you can never hear a Beethoven which is too contrasted. But apply the same kind of musical gesture to Mozart, and it sounds absolutely brutal. You have to deal with this contrast. I'm not saying that Mozart has no contrast or no surprises, but you have to deal with them in a completely different way, as I think excess doesn't fit at all with Mozart. Now, in the case of Debussy and Ravel, Ravel is actually more or less a classic composer. He always used classical form. His harmonies are also rather based on the classic rules. He adds a lot of special notes over the 3 or 4 main notes as a rule, but to give a little flavor, let's say. But his harmonies, as well as his structure, are absolutely classical. In the case of Debussy, his harmonies are completely revolutionary. He did chords that were absolutely forbidden in any music theory. And there is a famous quote when he presented these parallel fifth chords to his harmonic teacher, who probably had almost a heart attack. He said, "How can you write this?" He said, "But I love it. But I love it. So my heart is my guide." And Debussy was really an anti-conformist in that case. He didn't like to fit in any. Just take any of his pieces and compare it to the next one. No Debussy pieces have the same form. And to analyze them on the pure structural point of view, you need to find a key for each of them. Well, in the case of Ravel, when he writes a sonata, it's a clear sonata.